Faridula si manette, doni poina volinette, pina sans mi manicette, d'un enfant sur le banc.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Untitled KKP Show, the show where we talk about video games, anime, and all sorts of pop culture stuff and nonsense, while still trying to figure out what to title our show. Yes, it's a running joke, as I keep saying over and over. My name is Jonathan Toyad, aka Mr. Toffee, and we're gonna be talking about lots of Hollow Knight Silksong, or Skong, as the internet has affectionately called it. Yeah, that game came out on the Thursday now we're recording on the 8th of September. Game came out on the 4th September at night, our time, 10 p.m. GMT plus 8, and the entire servers just went down for Steam, for PlayStation Network, Xbox, Switch. Everybody is anticipating to get this title. And everybody gets it, like from media, the content creators and whatnot, they all have to get it on the same day, the same time as the Kickstarter backers for this title. Game got active and took me about 4 hours to wait while I do like a bunch of other work before I got around to the Steam page and clicked on the button and all that, because when I tried to get it about 10:30 p.m. or so, yeah, I got locked out. I mean, I got basically got an error message with a little monster in the front stating that, yeah, the servers are currently unavailable, try again later. So 4 hours later, boop, got my copy, played through it. Yeah, and is this... Yeah, it's really good. It's really a really good game. Maybe a bit of a starting point before we get on a nitty gritty. I got a bunch of other games maybe one game and a bunch of news to cover for this week. And probably an editorial I kind of want to cram in, talk about stuff that happened the past few days prior to the recording this Monday, 8th of September. So that's it, let's dive right in. Okay, Hollow Knight Silksong is a 2D metroidvania search action title made by Team Cherry of Australia. It is a sequel to 2017's Hollow Knight, which earned a lot of critical reputation for being a very distinctively beautiful game with a very, very high learning curve. As soon as you get through like the first hour of the game, the kid gloves come off and you have to fight bosses, enemies that really will wreck your day, as well as some really fiendishly challenging platforming. And of course the search and action thing, and also a really brutal approach to, discovering that map, where other Metroidvanias, they let you uncover the map without any sort of penalty or additional cost. Hollow Knight requires you to get equipment to, you need to buy your own compass and to tell you where you're at, you need to buy the map. This is the same thing, this is what you get to do, this is what you have to do in Silksong. So, instead of playing as the Vessel avatar in the first game, you now play as Hornet, a character you come across in the first Hollow Knight game. So you have this story for Hornet where she gets captured, presumably because of her special silk powers, and then a bridge crumbles in the intro and then she starts at the bottom. She has to work her way up to the top to climb all the way to the Citadel to find out what's going on, why she was captured, and why she is being put in this predicament in the first place. And as you explore the world and the cities and the desolate wasteland and the forest and the unfriendly setting here and there, you get to find out what actually goes on, as well as figure out that apparently there are a bunch of pilgrims trying to get to the top, to the Citadel, to, get blessed and whatnot. And true to fashion of the Hollow Knight series, a lot of dark stuff happens along the way. I mean, you are fighting bugs, infected people, and a lot of other crazy monstrosities coming your way with dark powers, being surrounding the Citadel and, plaguing the land that she's in. And she, of course, has to play the hero to get through adversity and whatnot. So this is a spoiler-free review. No, I'm not revealing anything that isn't in the first hour of the game. This is a 16 hour game on your first playthrough. It is a through and through Metroidvania. You start off at the bottom of the map, you work your way to the top, and then you get to explore bits and pieces of area here and there. You can beeline straight to the boss. You need to get to the Citadel, explore a bunch of other, unexplored areas along the way. You gain new powers like air dash, a running move where you can basically, run dash and whatnot, get through certain platforming, climb up ledges. Hornet can also wall climb through a power-up you get later in the game. That's useful, of course. It does what it says. And you also got a needle throw. I'm not sure what the correct name is, but Hornet throws a needle and just dashes to where the needle is being thrown. It's a good distance. It takes up silk energy. More on that later. And it actually helps with your traversal. So you need all these abilities and probably a couple more to get to the top and whatnot, and to fight the final boss, and as per the usual standards for a metroidvania game. And along the way you find out story bits here and there as you talk to the denizens. Although this time Hornet speaks in her own voice and character. She is an adamant huntress, and she basically knows how to hunt and whatnot. So there's a cool other mechanic too, where certain quests requires you to track foes or track lost pilgrims or shopkeepers. So you just press up on a bunch of items, and then you get to see like a trail of scent, and basically Hornet just follows the trail until she gets to the objective. Let's see. Oh, and of course the currency in this game is rosary beads. Rosary beads. So you can kill bug enemies to get through that. Don't forget, you've got animals. You've got like humanoid bugs or sentient bugs, pilgrims or church characters or other special enemies, and the humanoid enemies per se that drops rosary beads. You need these to not only buy items but also to activate certain save points. So this game has a bit of a cruel streak, like the first Hollow Knight, even more so than the previous game, because there are certain save points that can only be opened up if you use money to pay for them. And there's even some tricky ones where basically you see a bench, just like in the first game. You pay money, sit on the bench, you rest, you save, you're all good. As soon as you get out and move a few centimeters away, the bench resets. You have to pay another set amount of rosary beads to open up that bench again. And there's also another place, I think it's called a Pilgrim's Rest. You open the door for a set amount of rosary beads. You go in, buy your shit, save. As soon as you get out of the hotel, the door closes. You have to pay money again to open it up again. So the game has this bit of a cruel streak to it. And of course, the enemies are challenging too. And most importantly, the bosses are quite riveting to fight and also very, very challenging. They got set patterns and they've got telegraphs, of course, but they are pretty fast when compared to, I guess, other Souls-like games that Team Cherry is mimicking or obviously being influenced by. Make no mistake, Hollow Knight Silksong is a very unforgiving game, but it is fair in giving you some of the tools to save, but also actual literal tools that Hornet can use. And of course, Hornet itself is a very fast character. She can even change fighting styles depending on the crest you find, which you either find it in certain areas or fight certain bosses. You get crests that change up your attack a little bit. I got 2 so far. She's got the default Huntress crest with a dive kick and everything. More on that later. And she also has the Reaper crest and also the Beast crest. The Beast is like fast slashes and a pound-side dive to replace the dive kick. And for the Reaper crest, she has a down swipe that's like a huge arc, and she goes downwards a little bit and covers a good amount of ground, a good hitbox and whatnot. And her swings are slightly slower, but they come in an arc. So I've actually been using that. As soon as I got that crest, I did not change my crest ever since, from beginning to end. It's a very useful crest for me. But again, your playstyle may differ. You might actually prefer the Huntress crest, or you may prefer the Beast crest. I thought those two were okay, but I kind of got the rhythm and the groove of the Reaper crest. So make of that what you will, like a different strokes, different folks, right? So again, about the dive kick move, Hornet starts off with a dive kick, where basically she lunges down in a short downward angled attack, which she uses to actually get a bounce. It's like the same thing as a guillotine jump for Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, but this one requires a bit more precision. And in fact, but the thing is, you can use it on anything. Enemies, they can give you a good bounce when you hit them. Certain objects that you find, like balloons or ballasts, or I guess the flowers you see at the hunter's mark level, the hunter's path level, that gives you like that you need to use to platform to get from point A to point B across the spikes. You need to use a dive kick to get through all that, and that does require a bit of precision, which is why I prefer the Reaper's Crest, because they got a huge arc, so you're not gonna miss unless you really are crappy with your timing. So I use that, and it gets really tough, especially with the way they lay out the platforms and dive kick buttons, or the balloons or the flowers for you to platform from point A to B. It gets very tricky. And of course, if enemies all around the area, even the small enemies take quite a bit to kill, like 3 hits minimum. It's crazy, man. And so they do. Then again, you can use them to bounce to other unreachable areas. So you can use those as platforming tools as well, enemies as well. So there is a bit of like a give and take that Team Cherry is doing in terms of difficulty. And I guess the biggest discourse is the fact that big-bodied enemies and bosses, if you even touch them or get hit by the attacks, that's 2 life gone. So Hornet actually starts off with 5, and then you can actually upgrade it to 6, 7, 8 onward. You gotta find like 4 masks per tradition of any search action game. Now, you kind of need to put in the work if you want to actually get more hit points, because yeah, these enemies can just dunk on you when you start off with default health. So I basically went through the entire game with just 6 hit points. So that's basically 3 mistakes I can make when fighting enemies, bosses, especially with the contact damage being implemented. And it is tough, but it is doable. You have a lot of practice and a lot of like determination and whatnot, and practice. It can get like manageable. I guess my only complaint is the difficulty. There are some stages where you really need a save point just next to this boss so I can practice to fight against it, because it is really challenging. And some of these stages, they have like checkpoints that are like a minute away, and the path itself is pretty arduous with a lot of enemy placements and whatnot. So you are required to, as the internet says, get good to make sure you get through that path unscathed. But on the plus side, when you die, you leave your silk body at where you died, corpse run basically, like in Dark Souls game. But when you hit the corpse, when you reclaim your corpse, you get your silk energy recharge. So you need silk to do some of your power moves, and the healing move is called Binding, where Hornet will just stand there, lift up her needle for about, I guess, half a second, or a second, and then she heals like a bit of her life bar. That's basically your SK flask, your potions, in Dark Souls terms. And that is a very useful move that's required to survive in all, especially when you're fighting bosses for like the first time or second or third time, so you can actually prolong the fight, so you can get the hang of the patterns and whatnot. And let me tell you, I've actually spent I guess some fights are easy, some fights are manageable with the healing attack, with the healing ability, while some, I guess, I have come across one boss fight and one gauntlet that took me an hour just to get through, because I needed to figure out how the patterns go, how the gauntlet works, because the enemy drops are already set. It's not randomized, but the enemies that drop are tough to fight, especially when they're like 2 big body ones, where basically you only can make 3 mistakes, and then you're in a cramped room. It's insane, but doable, definitely doable. And you've got bosses like the Clockwork Twins, and you got I guess a dancer troop guy, and then there's a creature called the Fourth Chorus that do require a bit of skill to, and the attacks are telegraphed really well. Thankfully, it's a fair telegraph, especially when you see the shine. Oh, that attack's gonna hurt really bad. You gotta move out of the way, And you also got sneak attack bastards. There's one enemy where I killed him already after a bit of a fight, and then he explodes in my face. But the telegraph was there, and I made the mistake of standing in the corner thinking, it's safe, I'm moving away from the blast radius. Nope, I died, and I have to do that fight and go through that pathway again. Yeah, I blame myself for that carelessness, that's for sure. And of course I was frustrated, definitely, like anyone would. But at the end of the day, Hollow Knight Silksong does what a good Souls-like game does. It just makes you feel damn good once you get through that hurdle, just to see how the story progresses and open up a new area with new challenges to open up and new items and new power, maybe not new power-ups, more like more rosary beads to unlock other stuff here and there and open up the map and give you more platform challenges. They're all fun to do. And challenging, yes, but also fun. They straddle that fine line between difficult and fun, which is really, really hard to do, which is why Team Cherry took, I guess, from 2019 up till now to get the game done. And I'm glad that Team Cherry didn't go through any drama with the 4-man team they had, because why it took so long? Because it's like 4 guys making the game, damn it! Making a 30-hour game. It is a 30-hour plus game, because I may have finished the game for 16 hours, but I have a lot to go through, considering that there are multiple endings to unlock and more side quests and more story stuff to discover in this very enchanting yet very dark world that reminds me of other dark fairy tales like Beautiful Darkness, this French book I've seen, or your dark fairy tales like Dark Crystal. I think Dark Crystal would be like the one thing that popped up to mind, where it's like, it's cute but also dark and very gritty and very unforgiving in a sense, but at the same time I love it for its uncompromised vision and the fact that it's just fun to play. It's challenging, brutal, but also fun to control and play, so you kind of have yourself to blame. That said, I think Team Cherry could tone down the difficulty like a tad. Like, maybe make a compromise on their side. Like, keep all the bullshit that you have, but maybe have your double damage contact thing go away. Maybe have it like 1 hit. And okay, like maybe the attack is 2 hits, but just contact damage is always going to be 1 hit point. Maybe that kind of compromise. Or either that, or keep the contact damage rules, but put a save point closer to some of the tougher boss fights. Especially the one that closes out the act. And I really don't blame the mod. Okay, there's also news about, there's a difficulty discourse going on with the game. For sure, 100%. As with any Souls-like game like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, the trilogy, Bloodborne and whatnot. And then you've got people bitching about that on Steam and whatnot. Again, valid complaints, valid reviews and whatnot. But you've got other people who are arguing for it as well. And then you've got another subset of subhumans who just argue that, oh, get good or be entitled and be gatekeepers and being aggressive about, how dare you slander my hard, tough game that I like just because you're a filthy casual. Like, that is, I won't say it's discrimination, but that's just not a healthy attitude to have. It's a very toxic attitude to have. That's the thing about fandoms. I think if this keeps up, I think this fandom might be worse than maybe Undertale. And that has its own set of freaking problems right there. I mean, there are, I think I remember I read this article on IGN, as well as seen the tweets prior to that article stating that the difficulty discourse goes both ways. Some people complaining, giving bad reviews for the game because of its unbalanced difficulty. Some people, the other side, chiming in saying hey, maybe you're not that good in games, get good and all that. Or the whole talking down to other people, the elitist method, which unfortunately people like that do exist. Either in the media side or in the game fandom side, it's still, those people are still there. And you know, if you want to just punch them in the face, I'm not saying no to that, but yeah, maybe tone down your attitude a little bit. Because, and then there are some people who actually have mods for the game right now. Like, there's a mod like just a few days or after this game came out that just tones down the contact damage for the game. To which I say, hey, go ahead. It's your playthrough. It's your game. Go ahead, do it. And then I see a bunch of people on Twitter saying, oh, you are cheating the game. You're cheating yourself. Talking down. I'm making you feel guilty because you're not playing the game as intended or the right way or whatnot. The guy who modded the game paid money for the game anyway. And he can do whatever the hell he wants. Alright? That's all I'm saying. Like, if you want the mod, go ahead. I think it's on Nexus Mod. You can just look it up, Twitter, Nexus Mod, or Google Nexus Mod, Hollow Knight Silksong Mod. It's probably the only one that's valid and legitimate to use at this point in time. As for me, my personal use, I don't use mods unless there are things in the game that require changing. And even that, I'm not going to jump the gun and just install it straight away. I'll probably just give it a week, because the first time you play a game, like in the first 24 hours, your feelings that either it's rage or happiness or boredom or whatnot, that's all needs to be tempered before you actually put down your final verdict on the game in the other next 24 hours, and or maybe even the third day or a fourth day. Reviews should not be rushed anyway. Which again, I actually applaud Team Cherry for leveling the playing field. You know, that's very rare in this day and age. As I said before, Blizzard has done this until they got bought over, and then they're like a new company now, for good or ill, right? So all I'm saying is, yeah, Silksong is definitely a really awesome game. Is it Game of the Year material? Definitely. I'm very sure this is going to be on everybody's top 10 or top 5 list for 2025. Probably neck to neck with Clair Obscur. Or in my personal case, Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Those are all like 9s and 10s games, or Donkey Kong Bonanza, 9s and 10s game, like full score games, like 5-star games that are required to be on everybody's top 10 lists if they're credible or whatnot, right? Hollow Knight Silksong is definitely, for the most part, it is well made, with a lot of secrets that you can uncover that really makes you feel that joy and sense of discovery, and combating the game with the fights and all that being very, very challenging. Probably tougher than the original Hollow Knight, more so. I can't verify that because it's been a while since I played Hollow Knight since launch, but I can definitely tell you that I had a blast playing Hollow Knight Silksong, and I am actually going to play the game again to, try to get 100%, see all the other secret story stuff that's been revealed as we're playing the game right now. And the game looks gorgeous, lovely music. Of course, people remember the Sherma's theme from the start of the game, and then you've got like other chantings, or the very iconic chant from the yodeling from the guy who sells you the maps, Skarna? I forgot his name. Basically, he sells you maps. You can find him whenever you're in a new area. He'll be at a random spot. You kind of need to hopefully save up rosary beads to buy his maps. That's also another thing. You need to buy your own maps in this game. That's how hardcore Hollow Knight Silksong is, and I'm all appreciative of this in terms of like, you kind of need to work your ass off to get through what Hollow Knight Silksong offers, and this is time and development well spent. I love every moment in Hollow Knight Silksong. I am still indecisive on where it goes on my top 5, whether it'll probably take over Shinobi, maybe. But Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Clair Obscur, again, we'll see how that goes. Again, I guess we'll know at the end of the year. But for now, that is my review of Hollow Knight Silksong. It is a hearty recommendation. Skong is Kong. I hope that I don't think that catchphrase is going to get through, but Skong is Kong, indeed. Skong is the king of Skong, Kong, yeah. All in all, this is a very immaculately made Metroidvania that pulls no punches, does not compromise on his hardcore Souls-like vision, and it's just a joy to watch in action, whether you're entrapped in his world, enjoying what it offers from its scenic views to its beautiful animations and just the way Hornet moves, all the way to how it pays out in the end when you feel that satisfaction beating tough bosses and going through challenging obstacles. For that, I'll definitely give this game a 90 out of 100. Closer to an 80, 90 out of 100. And with that, I'm going to go on Twitter, on X.com, on Facebook to see more of the Hollow Knight Silksong discourse, because I kind of like that stuff. And also, we'll be playing more of that title. Unfortunately, I don't have anything funny to add to a punchline except maybe this clip.
Pina sans mi manisette, d'un enfant sur le banc. Faridula si manette, doni point à volinette. Pina sans mi manisette, d'un enfant sur le banc. Faridula si manette, doni point à volinette.